Woodchucks. You know them, you love them, and they control when spring happens, and I personally think that they should control all seasons. But they got me thinking, how very common tongue twister that shouldn't be taken seriously. But what if you did take it seriously? How much wood could a woodchuck really chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? A study back in 1995 called The Ability of Woodchucks to Chuck Cellulose Fiber had people to get woodchucks by various means, replace the diet of 12 adult male woodchucks with wood, and tracking how much they would eat when 2x4s were put in front of them. The average woodchuck would eat about 0.7979 pounds of wood a day. So that's our answer, right? Wrong. We're not figuring how much wood is a woodchuck willing to chuck because he has no other food. We're looking for our most potential wood that a woodchuck can chuck in its life. In order to find out how much wood a woodchuck could chuck, we need to find a few things. How fast can the woodchuck chuck? How much force is being exerted from the woodchuck chuck? What type of wood is the woodchuck chucking? How much time is woodchuck chucking for in its life? How long is the woodchuck alive for? This is Ben. Ben absolutely loves chucking wood to the point where his friends and family are very concerned. Ben chucks soft balsa wood so that he can chuck as much as possible. Ben chucks at 700 newtons per bite. A thin layer of balsa would take about 445 newtons of force to break, meaning that Ben can chew it and break it in one bite. Ben also constantly feels like he's in a life or death situation if he doesn't chuck as fast as possible, so he chucks 10 times a second. This is the fastest they can do. Most woodchucks can only do that for about a second, and the bites are way too small. Also, they hurt the woodchuck's jaw if done too long. So, Ben only chews 8 times a second to be more consistent. The way that Ben chucks wood is through thin sheets of balsa wood. 1 pound of balsa, 454 grams, is split into 91 sheets of 5 gram, 3.2 millimeters thick sheets of wood. Because of how easily and fast Ben can chew the sheets, it's reasonable to say that he could chuck up to 1 sheet every second. That's a pound of wood in a minute and 31 seconds. But that's not enough. We need to know the total amount of wood that Ben will chuck. In order to know that, we need to figure out how much time he spends chucking wood every day. But to know that, we need to know his sleeping patterns and his diet outside of wood. And this also assumes that he doesn't do anything else in his life, and so much more. It's just too much math for not even the highest amount of wood that a woodchuck can chuck. It's also too much math for our first video. Introducing RoboChuck. He's what Ben wishes he was. RoboChuck will sit in one spot and summon sheets of balsa wood to chuck. He has no need for sleep, the bathroom, moving, natural disasters, or anything else. He only has 2 goals in life: chuck as much wood as possible, and do it by only using woodchuck capabilities. Because RoboChuck doesn't have to worry about pain, he can chew 10 times a second. Now RoboChuck can chuck through a pound of wood in just 72 seconds. Assuming that RoboChuck can live as long as the oldest woodchuck or groundhog, what the woodchuck? Okay, so assuming that RoboChuck isn't a god that was alive in the 1800s, that he can only live up to 15 years, woodchuck lifespan in captivity, then we'll get our answer. To keep it simple, RoboChuck will stop the very second he turns 15. There are 60 seconds in a minute. Times 60 gives us 3,600 seconds in an hour. 3,600 times 24 is 86,400. For how many seconds there are in the day, 86,400 times 365 gives us 31,536,000 seconds in a year. Times 15 is 473,040,000 seconds in 15 years. Divided by 72, which is how many seconds it takes for a RoboChuck to chew through a pound of wood, gives us the grand total of 6,570,000 pounds. So there you have it. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? About 6.57 million pounds, assuming that the woodchuck doesn't need or want to do anything else and can chew 10 times a second. Subscribe for more detailed math and for me to not use ChatGPT as my main source of information. Hooray! Thanks for watching my first video. I hope it was worth your time. I don't really know what I want to do for my channel yet. Might be rankings or videos like these, or just goofing around with my friends. Please give feedback in the comments. Also, just for fun, RoboPunktatani Phil can chuck 60,954,270 pounds of wood and counting.